Okay. Oh, hang on, guys. Device not connected. Okay, how about now? Guys hear me? I have audio now. I don't know what it was because it's desktop audio still isn't working at my end. I don't know why it changed from having audio to no audio. But I have no desktop audio. Which is weird. Which is why you guys would not be able to hear me. Or not able to hear me. Because my desktop audio is not working. And I don't know. Well, yeah, you say it's working, but it's not working at my end. Because I've got no desktop audio. Or any kind of audio. If you guys say, if you can hear me, you can hear me, but it's giving me error messages about audio. No Yeti. It must be picking me up from the webcam, maybe, because it's saying no Yeti. I'm not sure why that is, but whatever. Anyhow, yeah, I got back from the hospital last night, probably about 1, which is later than I want to keep Brett and Jackie up because I know Jackie has to work today. She was probably wanting to get to bed. Oh, Christ. Here's the phone call I was waiting for. I'll be back with you guys in a minute. I got to answer this phone call. It's from my mom. I'll be back. Oh, fucking moms. Jesus Christ. Oh, no, she's doubting the doctors. She's saying, I'm thinking it's probably not your hernia. I'm thinking it's something different. Like, no, Mommy, it's my hernia. So, well, if you talk to her about appendicitis, it's not my appendicitis. She thinks it's something different. She's not convinced it's my hernia, but as soon as they can get me in is the 30th, which I believe is next Monday. And I really don't want to wait that long, but yeah, that's next Monday. I guess they'll have to, I guess, but my mom and I got this whole discussion of what we really think it is, and the doctor said it was a hernia. What my mom was seeing, she said, well, it's a possible hernia. It's like, no. A hernia is a hernia. You can't word it any other way. It's like, well, she even told the doctor she's not convinced it's a hernia. She says, I think it's something else. I think it's ulcerative colitis. Like, no, because that's in a different area. That's with my colon, and that's not up where my pain was. So, and she's gonna call the doctors back again today and try to convince their minds that it isn't a hernia, it's something else. That they should be looking for something different and do a whole different set of tests, because she said, why would his hernia come back? They sometimes do. Well, this is the second time I've had it. I know another guy, he's had his hernia 3 times. And some people just, they just keep getting it back over and over and over and over. And I told her I might be one of those people. I could get a hernia every 3 years and have to have it removed. It's every 3 or 4 years. And then she said, well, that's not normal. It's like, well, some people it is. It's the kind of stuff that I do. If you're lifting, bending, twisting, it's. And then she got all paranoid about me actually working and it's causing problems. And no, I don't think so. But she's, I don't know. She's thinking it's something different. She's thinking it couldn't be a hernia. And she said, 6 years ago, you had yours repaired. I said, yeah, but it could have come back. Even the doctors told her they do have it listed as a hernia, but she told them, because she told me what she told the doctor is, I don't see how that could be. He just had his repaired 5 or 6 years ago. She said some of them do come back. But we won't know anything conclusive until the 30th. Early in the morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning or something. Then my back is starting to bother me. So yeah, I'm doing really good, guys. Oh, yeah, my lower back's hurting. My front side is hurting a little bit, but not bad. It was better than it was when I went to the hospital. Oh my God, that hurt. And I just knew at that point, after I had taken a double dose of my Besalicide, 750 milligrams, that wasn't doing anything. You just sit there and the pain got worse. And it was on Ken's live stream even before that. Even before 9 o'clock, I was debating whether I should call Jackie and tell him to come get, or tell Brett to come get me, because even at 9 o'clock, and that's why I told him towards like 9, 10, 9:15 or whatever, that I'm probably going to go to the hospital because this pain is not going away. That hospital is so slow. What should take a couple of minutes to do took over an hour. That's why I was there for 3 hours. They only had 3 things to do. Check me in, confirm what I've got, which they did, get the medication and paperwork done. That should have taken an hour or 2, but it took over 3 hours. And it shouldn't have, but I didn't say anything. As long as they were helping me, I'm looking at the clock and like, yeah, this is 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah. Wow. 3 hours to be there. It was not too noisy in there. I mean, it's not like they were having emergency after emergency, but and I wasn't really in an emergency because I walked in on my own. I just kind of looked at her, said I had help because I'm having abdominal pain. She says, okay. And after I checked in with the front desk, they put me in another room. I sat there for another 10, 15 minutes before this is even before getting in my room and they get into a room in the emergency room. I was still in the front check-in part of the emergency room where I talked to the lady, said I need to talk to somebody or see somebody because I'm having abdominal pain. She took me, went around the corner down to the hall into a room. She said the intake nurse or whatever will be with you in a few minutes. Triage nurse, I guess. Well, that took 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm just ready to fall over in pain. And I knew I was getting quite bad because I was starting to sweat. When pain with me gets bad enough, I was wiping off sweat. And like, she finally walked in and she said, she said, yeah, I know you're. She was gonna do it really quick because she knew I was in pain. And she said, oh, sorry it took so long. They didn't get the note. The triage nurse didn't get the note for her to see me until 10, 15 minutes later. I guess that lady at the check-in at the emergency room desk didn't hand the paperwork off like she said she was going to. She said, I'll get this off to him right away. It must have sat at her desk for a good 10, 15 minutes, and then, or she finished up whatever she was doing, and then decided, oh yeah, I got to take this in. And God, I hate emergency rooms. Oh, oh, yeah. Sometimes I wish I could have a drink, but I'm not going to. I can't even have pop right now. I'm just kind of stuck down to water, which sucks. Love to go downstairs and get a Mountain Dew, but I'm afraid of what that might do. So I'm just gonna stick to water, not really eat anything for the next 5 days till I see a doctor, because I don't know what's gonna flare it up or what isn't. So just look like a water diet. Maybe I can go get some ice cream. Have a liquid diet, which is what they've had me on before for colitis. Nothing but water stuff. Ice cream, popsicles, water, of course. It's the only thing that. That's how I was, Ski Man. It was. I was starting to sweat. It's not that the hospital was hot. Actually, I think they had the air conditioning on. But yeah, I was starting to sweat and like, yeah, this is getting bad. She finally walks in there and she's, yeah, I'm sorry it took so long. You didn't get the paperwork like I was supposed to. Yeah, I kind of figured that's what had happened. And she asked me if I've been out of Minnesota for the last 30 days. Like, no. She had to ask me all these kinds of questions before getting to what the problem was. And then she asked me, so what brought you in here? It's like, well, I'm having abdominal pain. I think it's either my hernia or my ulcerative colitis is acting up. I'm not sure which. The paperwork seems to indicate that it could be an umbilical hernia, although the nurse that did the CAT scan couldn't find anything. She didn't see any obstructions or anything, but um, I, I don't know. The doctors, I don't even really think they knew what was going on because my mom told me that when she talked to the doctors, they were. All right, phone. You know what? I'm muting you. Goodbye. Doctors just didn't seem to think. Well, uh, hate my phone. Jesus Christ, channels turn on by themselves. That's all I did is I picked up my phone and CNC equipment started playing. been doing that a lot. Pick up my phone and videos start playing. And I'm not sure why it's doing that unless I bump something, but yeah, my mom was just not. She told him, like she told me today, that she goes, well, I'm not really sure that's what's going on. I'm not sure you're right. I think it's something different. And she wants them to put me through a whole series of tests next Monday, and she's not going to let me leave there until they do, because she wants my pancreas. All they got to do is blood work. She doesn't seem to understand that. They do the full blood count or whatever it is. That'll tell you if your organs are working right. And she says, oh, no, they need to do an actual test. Said, Mom, the blood test will tell them that my organs are working right. That's not always the case. So, yeah, I guess my mom's going to go with me next Monday to boss the doctors around. Tell them what to do. And she doesn't think they're going to do it right. That's why she's insisting she goes with me. Because she doesn't think the doctors are going to do it right at all. So she's going to tell them what to do. She wants my pancreas checked. She wants my liver checked. My whatever's checked. She wants everything checked. She doesn't think this is a hernia issue. The doctors have told her that's what it looks like to us. It's, but again, she said she doesn't really believe that. So, no, it's not my kidneys. They would have detected that last night. This is down by my belly button, which is where my last hernia was. That's what's called an umbilical hernia. That's what it is again. Because it says it in the paperwork. It's an umbilical hernia. But I'd like to see how that's going to go with my mom being there next Monday and telling them what to do. It ain't going to go over so well, not in Brainerd. They'll physically take them with their foot and kick her out of the hospital or kick her out of the clinic, tell her to get lost. You're not going to tell us what to do. They don't even like being asked what to do up here. The doctors make up their own, because I tried to suggest something last night, and she said, we don't appreciate you asking or suggesting us. We'll find it out on our own. Okay, fine. It turns out that what I thought it was, she said, well, you're completely wrong. That's not what it is. We think what this is starting to look like is an umbilical hernia. And I say, well, that's kind of what I thought. And then she said, well, how would you know that? Because I've had this before. It's like, oh, you have? She looks through my paperwork, a book about that big of papers, and she couldn't find that I had umbilical surgery 6 years ago. So I got into my chart. I talked to my doctor, wrote a note to my doctor saying they couldn't find the paperwork that I had umbilical surgery 6 years ago. Because the lady last night says, well, we couldn't find any information. Well, it may have come and gone already, even though I don't think it's supposed to leave your charts until 10 years, but I did have this surgery once. And to kind of prove it to her, I pulled it up and see all this. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you did have something. She said, I didn't have surgery. She said, oh, yeah, you had something done there. Like, oh, my God. So, I don't know. These doctors up here, they're not really sure what it is. My mom's convinced it's something else. I'm pretty well sure it's an umbilical hernia, but she wants a medical doctor to tell me that's what it is. And my mom said, the people who were at the emergency room last night were not doctors, they were RNs. That's not a real doctor. I said, well, the doctor I talked to, Rick, you didn't see a doctor last night. You see practitioners, RNs. You need to see a real doctor. Okay. I thought that's what they were at the emergency room as doctors. She says, oh, no, they're not. I think they were. Because the guy kept entitling himself as a doctor or whoever. My mom doubted he was a doctor. She said they're not doctors at emergency rooms. I think mine are, because they had medical doctor right at his shirt. She doesn't think that's who I was talking to, so she wants to go in Monday with me and make sure that I talk to a real licensed medical doctor about this condition I have, which I'm pretty sure is also my umbilical hernia, but she's not wanting to believe them until she talks to them in person and talks to a real live doctor. A doctor, licensed. See, these people that I was just, they're just emergency room workers. They're not really doctors. And I told her, I said, the guy I talked to last night told me he was a doctor. He's like, yeah, they say they are, but are they really? So, yeah, that's the story of my life with my mom. She doesn't believe anything. She doesn't believe doctors are doctors. She doesn't believe a nurse is a doctor. She's, unless she's sitting right in front of them and can see their credentials, then she'll say, okay, yeah, you're talking to a doctor. But over the phone, I'm not, she wasn't even convinced who she was talking to today was a doctor. And she asked him, are you a real licensed doctor? He said, well, yeah. And she didn't believe him. She's like, well, I'm not going to take your word for it. But she asked him to read the paperwork like she did, twice. I think she probably pissed him off because she wanted to make sure that what I was reading and what she was reading compared to what they have is the same thing me and my mom have. And word for word, she read what he had, what she had, and I read to her what I had, which matched what she had, which matched what the doctor told her that she doesn't think is a real doctor. Um, so she said everything supposedly right now matches. She's just not convinced it's a hernia. She doesn't convinced I was talking to a doctor. She wasn't convinced she was talking to a doctor today. Yeah, I know. My mom's, yeah, that's the way she is. It's just she doubts everything. She doesn't doubt anything her doctors tell her because she knows down at Mayo, those down there are real doctors. Up here, she doesn't know what they are. So you can be possibly talking to a doctor. I don't know who you were talking to last night. Well, let me show you the paperwork. I'll be right back. Oh, and I'm not going to keep this live stream going for too much longer. Probably another 5-10 minutes, and I'm going to go lay down. Let's see. There is the word doctor in here somewhere because I know I saw it. Maybe that was the only doctor. It says ask your doctor to pick up medications. Maybe it wasn't who I thought I saw, it was who I thought I saw. They had an IV in me last night. Except they were smart. They put the IV up here in my arm. Right about in here somewhere. It hurt for about a half second, but that's better than putting it in the top of my hand right here, which is where they normally put it. This hurts the worst. The arm, I just flinched a little bit, and by the time I said ouch, she was done with it. That's how quick they were compared to that guy that put it in my hand, which he wiggled and pulled and twitched like, oh my god. Anyhow, I'm trying to find anything in here that's relating to a doctor talking to me last night. Because she asked me, is there anything in that paperwork that says you were talking to a real doctor? You were seen by Carrie. Well, okay, so I wasn't seen by a doctor. Well, maybe. I don't know. APRN, comma, or whatever, CNP. Nurse practitioner, I guess. So I didn't really see a doctor last night, but okay, there's 20 seconds. Okay. Adam Purcell isn't even really a doctor. He's an APRN slash CNP. So I wasn't seen by doctors last night, I guess, which is what's pissing my mom off. He said you should have been seen by a doctor, and what it looks like on the paperwork, you were not seen by a doctor. A medical doctor is what she wanted me to see, and I'll take my advice from whoever can get me. If my mom says you shouldn't do that, you should only take advice from medical doctors. They're the only ones that can legally tell you what you have. So you were not seen by a doctor last night. That's why she wants me on the 30th. She wants to come with me to make sure who I'm talking to is a real doctor. I said, I'm sure they're all doctors, but apparently I didn't see a doctor last night. I saw everything else but that. So I see Adam Purcell, my gastroenterologist or whatever you call him. As a certified nurse practitioner. Yeah, she doesn't even like them. Yeah, certified. Yeah. I don't know. My mom's 82 years old, and she's starting to become really hard to convince of anything, of being real. She said doctors aren't real. What you were seeing was so-called doctors, and they're not doctors. You can't call them doctors. They're not doctors. They're people that really shouldn't have been there. You should have been talking to a doctor, and you didn't. That's why on the 30th, she wants to go with me to make sure I see a doctor. Well, the nurse practitioner or whatever can tell me the same thing a doctor can. I don't know. Whoever I see is whoever I see, and whatever they tell me is whatever they tell me. But my mom's wanting it done by the book. You see a nurse for this. You see a doctor to get the medications and the proper diagnosis for what you have. Well, that's what CNPs and all those other ladies can do. And she said, no, they can't. And if they are, they're not supposed to. That lady that told you you had a hernia, she should have never told you that. A doctor can only legally tell you that. And you didn't see a doctor last night. You saw everybody else last night, and the guy that she talked to today kind of confirmed that. I didn't see a doctor. I saw everything else. So my mom is not going to take credit for anything that happened last night. And she said that's all falsified because you didn't see a doctor. Well, I didn't know I wasn't seeing it. And the guy told me he was a doctor. The one guy said, yeah, I know everybody you saw last night. The guy you're talking about, the guy in the red shirt. How do you know that? Because they told me the guy you saw was wearing a red shirt. He's not a doctor. He's just a nurse practitioner guy. He just does the takes blood and does the other stuff that an actual real doctor does. So yeah, it'll all get worked out, and hopefully by next Tuesday, I'll have better news than I have today. As far as my stuff and any information I have on Windows right now, I'm kind of just not paying attention to that right now. I'm more worried about this abdominal pain that's wanting to come back with a vengeance, but so far it isn't. I'll just have to keep you guys that's interesting. Yeah, that's what? It makes no sense. It was the 23rd. I didn't even go on the 23rd. I was there last. Okay, so that maybe was last night, the 23rd. I don't know, but I'll let you guys know what's gonna happen with me. There's nothing short of any of this that's gonna kill me. I mean, I've been through this before. If anything that would do any kind of harm to me is my ulcerative colitis. That's the one that's deadly. I mean, hernias can be deadly, if they decided to suddenly let go right here, you bleed to death. But my ulcerative colitis has a much more chance of doing that than my hernia. So, uh, yeah, I'm running out of breath and not really wanting to talk anymore. So, I think I'm gonna get out of here, guys, and I'm gonna go lay down. I'm gonna check chat one more time here. Yeah, yeah, hand IVs are not fun. The last guy that did my hand IV, uh, and I've had hand IVs done before. It didn't hurt like that guy did. And he says, he showed me the needle, which he should have never done because that freaked me out. And he said, but see this short little tiny little needles that we use for babies? And they don't even complain. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do complain. Ask me how I know. um, he said, I don't see a reason for you to complain with hand IVs. And it's the way he did it. Normal nurses, they just come in and bing, boom, done. By the time you say ouch, they're putting the tape on. That's how quick a nurse is. This guy was wiggle, 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 ouch! And he told me, he pulled it out and said, you keep complaining, we're going to have to go start over and go on to your other hand. I said, well, if you'd put it in right, what do you mean quit wiggling it? Wiggle, 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 out you go! He finally did get it in there. Oh my God. Oh my God, that hurt. And then the nurse heard me complaining and she came running in. She said, what happened was that guy who shouldn't be doing IVs was wiggling and pushing wiggling while putting my IV in. And she went and told him, you can't do that. Well, if he would have quit moving around so much, it wouldn't. So I don't know. Maybe he's not doing IVs anymore. I hope I, I hope he isn't because he can do everything else, but IVs, he shouldn't really be doing that. It's not his forte. It's not his thing to do. I could tell because the way he was just doing it, and then he kept pulling it, taking it back out, and like maybe I should start like maybe over here, and like oh my God, like I said, he finally did get it in there, but oh, I was to the passing out point in pain. Speaking of pain, I'm gonna go try to alleviate some of my pain by laying down. I should probably go find some pain meds. Is what I should do. Go find Advil or I don't know. What do you guys suggest I take for pain? Because Tylenol don't do shit for me. I can take 20 Tylenol and it would just laugh at me like, it ain't gonna do anything. So I don't know. What do you guys suggest for pain? Because like those nurses or whoever I was talking to at the hospital, they kept suggesting Tylenol. Yeah, Tylenol don't do anything. So, that's all we can suggest to you is Tylenol. So I need something a little stronger than Tylenol and not Tylenol. And well, I'll have to try something just to kind of alleviate some of this pain because it is there, but it's not progressing. So I guess it's doing okay for now. But in case it does get worse, I want to I'll try Advil. I'll try to go get some Advil and take a whole bunch of that, and maybe I'll feel better. But like I said, it's far better than it was last night. But it's slowly creeping its way to the +10 pain level. They got the pain level chart from 0 to 10. What's your pain level? Mine's probably at a 4, maybe a 5, probably a 4. And that's when I left last night. Isn't around a pain level around. I was a 10 plus when I walked in there. They said, "What's your pain level now?" It's like probably a 3, maybe a 4. Okay, I think you'll do okay. She didn't like it that she wanted me to say a 0 to a 1. I couldn't. I was still hurting down here, so I said a 3, probably itching towards a 4. She didn't like that. I said, okay, well. So, yeah, I'm going to, it's funny you asked that, Schemer. um, I have medication for nausea. I'm supposed to go get it. And I was starting to get to that point last night where I thought, if this gets any worse, I'm going to have to find a bathroom somewhere in this hospital. And I was starting to kind of look around, like, okay, there's no bathroom there. There's no bathroom over there. And I was starting to say, oh, shit. Because if things really go hog wild, I'm going to make a mess all over their floor. And I couldn't find a bathroom. I was just fingers crossed this wasn't going to happen the way I thought it was going to. And it didn't. I was fine except for the pain. But they did give me some medication for the pain. For the nausea. I can't pronounce the name of it, but my mom said, well, if you really are not having nausea or having to run to the bathroom, do you really need it? Like, no, not unless my pain comes back. Yeah, I can't even pronounce this name. It is, how do we pronounce this? RX, capital O, N, D, A, M. I think that's an M. Maybe it's D, A, N, S, E, T, R, O, N. Denstron, ODT, tablet, 4 milligrams. Yeah, that is ONDANSETRON. ODT tablet. 4 milligrams. Refills none. DAW no. Yeah, my mom was right. I didn't see a doctor at all last night. I kept seeing RNs and everybody else but that. I could have swore that guy said he was a medical doctor. Apparently not. The way they reduced my pain last night is they had my head lower than my feet. They had me on the bed. They kind of had me at an angle, a slight angle, where my head was lower than my feet, so I looked kind of funny. Well, I was laying normally. They just took my head and dropped it down, so my head just dropped down. I'm not sure what that was for, but I don't know. She put that ice pack on me. She had my head lower than my feet. I don't know. It changed something. The pain did. Well, they had me on that IV last night too. So I'm gonna go, guys. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about all this, but that's all I've got for you today. Is I am alive. I will make it through this, but if my mom keeps dragging it on any more than what she is. See, I was supposed to see a doctor tomorrow, or call a doctor today or tomorrow. She changed it until the 30th. And if she's not convinced I'll be seeing a doctor, she'll change it again. Actually, she'll take me down to St. Cloud where she knows I'll see a real doctor. She doesn't know what they are up here. But anyhow, that's it, guys. Yeah, circulation. That could have been the reason. I don't know. It just felt really awkward. Having my head lower than the rest of me. That was weird. But I gotta get back into my chart and I gotta see if my doctor has gotten back to me. And I do have to make some phone calls and probably get everything transferred for me doing anything this week and next week. So I won't be doing anything with computers this week or doing anything with anything. I will have my live stream Thursday. If I'm feeling up to it, which I should be, but you never know. Oh, yeah, so with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Hope you all have a great day. I wish I could say I'm going to have a great day, but this is probably, well, I don't think it's going to get any worse, so fingers crossed it doesn't get any worse. I don't think it will, but we never know. So, then my back is bothering me. No spasms yet, but there's pain back there. So I'm having pain in about the same area from the front to the back. The back pain I'm having is right around the same area, and if I go all the way around the front, it matches up with the same area of my belly button. So I'm having belly button pain because of umbilical hernia. In the same area in the back, my vertebrae are acting up. So I'm gonna go lay down, guys. I will catch you all. Well, if I'm feeling up to it, I'll be on Zoom tonight. I'll see you guys there. I don't know. Might try to sneak another live stream, although probably not tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe an upload tomorrow. I think that's what it'll be, is an upload. And with that, guys, I'm going to let you go. You all have a great day. And I'll talk to you all next time. Bye for now.